Tonight, our first speaker is Brent. Help me welcome Brent.
My name is Brent. I'm an alcoholic. My sobriety date is February 22nd, 2018. I'll be going on 2 years this February. I've been in this town for a pretty long time, going on 9 years, and originally from Northern California. And I've been in these rooms since I'm 18. I'm going to be 30 in April, so it's been about 11 years. And it's been since I remember when I was young. I always had this sensation like I couldn't breathe. And when I first took my drink when I was around 14 or 15, I felt like I could breathe for the first time in my life. And I was home I was homesick, and I used to play hooky all the time when I was in high school, and I ended up getting into my parents' liquor cabinet, and I remember I was drinking a bunch of rum. I blacked out, and that was the first time I ever drank, and I woke up in the shower, I puked all over myself, and I was like, you know what, this is for me, you know. I don't know why, you know. I just love the feeling. I love the feeling of not remembering. I love the feeling of disconnecting from my reality, because my reality was like really dark. I always felt less than people. I felt like I couldn't fit in, and when I drank, I felt like I could, you know. And I was at peace for some time when I would drink. And so it got to the point where I ended up dropping out of high school. I ended up getting my GED and everything, but since I was 18 till I was 22, I was in and out of probably like 10-something treatment centers. I got kicked out of every single one of them. I never completed a single one. You know, I've gotten a couple years of sobriety twice, and during those times where I had a few years, you know, I wasn't sober. I wasn't drinking or using drugs, but I admitted I was powerless over alcohol, but I had no conscious contact with a power greater than myself. I wasn't changing any kind of behavior. I was the same person I was when I was drinking, and it was honestly the most miserable I've ever been in my life. I wasn't suicidal when I was drinking and using drugs. I became suicidal in these rooms when I wasn't willing to practice these principles in all my affair, and that's when I realized that alcohol was just a symptom, and that my problem went way deeper than my drinking problem, and that it was me habitually trying to drink and use drugs so I didn't have to deal with my true self, with my true nature. I wanted to bottle all these emotions, all those feelings down. And so when I take the drink away, and I'm not practicing these principles, I'm like 100 times worse than when I was drinking. And I've been probably, there was about 6 months where I thought about killing myself every single day, and it came really close to it. And I had no hope, and I was delusional, and I believed that I worked the 12 steps, and that I did thorough inventory, and that I was becoming an amended person, but I was far from that. I was dependent on other human beings. I was in a relationship, and I was dependent on her for my own happiness, and I was using her like I was using alcohol. And as soon as that left, I didn't have that anymore. I had nothing, you know. And so I had 3 years sober, or 3 years without a drink, but you know, there just wasn't anything there. And so I went and I did what I do best, and that's just causing wreckage in my in my life. And I got in a car accident, and I ended up abusing my script. But for some reason, it was just like a 24-hour thing, and I was able to come back to these rooms, and that was February 22nd, 2018. And I realized that I believed a power greater than myself, but I didn't believe that power could restore me to sanity. I had no trust in it. I did whatever I wanted to do, and I didn't take any suggestions whatsoever. I would go to meetings, and I would help people, but, anything between that, when it came to being honest, on my fourth and fifth, I would leave a lot of things out. And there was just certain character defects of character that I wasn't willing to let go. And it wasn't until I hit a pretty gnarly bottom that I became willing to do that, and that I became willing to try something different. And it was the only way I was able to do an honest fourth and fifth was my sponsor at the time told me all his deep dark secrets that he had, and it was 100 times worse than my own. And so I was just and when I heard that, that's when I could relate. That's when I was able to trust, because I knew he was just like me. And that's when I took that first surrender, and just kind of let everything out there. And then I was able to be aware of all my character's a defect. And I'm always trying to manage. I'm always trying to do things on my own. I'm self-reliant, and I judge others. Those are the two main things I do. And so when I became aware of my character as a defect, I was able to make changes in my life. And when I was willing to bring God or a higher power into that, I was able I was given the strength to become amended. That's the biggest basis for me is to have a power greater than myself, because I can't do this on my own. And I'll run my life to the ground and not even realize it, because I'm very delusional. I guess today, I hate public speaking. I hate coming up here. It's the most terrifying thing in the world for me. And I'll put whatever kind of poison in my body to relieve this feeling that I'm feeling right now. But I know that for this program, I have to walk through a lot of fear, and I have to do things that I don't want to do, because I've listened to my own head and my own voice, and there's this disease that this voice I listen to on a daily basis is constantly telling me to do certain things, very impulsive things, and I listen to it, and I used to think I didn't have a choice with that. But through having a conscious contact with a power greater than myself, I do have a choice with that. If when I wake up in the morning and I surrender and I open that contact, I don't have to cause harm to others. I don't have to drink today. I can show up to work on time. I can do all that stuff. And when I don't do that, and I normally know that because I'll be driving to work and I'll either be late or I'm pissed off and I'm flipping people off and I'm angry, and I could tell when I don't have that morning meditation. I just finished. Gone through the steps for the first time in my life, and I'm on the 9th step, and I became willing to make some pretty hardcore amends, at least for me. And what I normally do is I'll make these amends, and then I start feeling good, and then I'll just kind of get stagnant, and I kind of start to worship the materialistic things in my life, and I know I can't do that today. I know this is something I have to do 24/7. It's not something I can take a break on, because for me, my disease is very powerful, and I'm okay with being an alcoholic today. I used to think it was the worst thing that's ever happened to me, but someone once told me that it's a gift, and I didn't really understand that, how something that could kill me is a gift. It even talks about that in the Spanish literature. It refers to this disease as a death sentence, and each day that you every 24 hours you're prolonging your death sentence through AA, and it's a really dark outlook look at, but like it makes sense, because I've lost a lot of people. I lost family members to this. I lost really close friends to this disease, and I know it can happen to me. If I start becoming stagnant, and today, I don't have to live that life today. Today, I don't have to cause harm to others and to myself. Today I'm starting to think of other people, and how I affect others, because I'm just so used to thinking of my own problems. Because the world, at a time revolved only about me and my emotions, and, if I wasn't better than you, then I was less than you. I can say is for about 18 months I haven't been suicidal, and that's a huge blessing for me. Today I can see a light at the end of the tunnel, and I have hope. And I'm not used to that. Life's like really weird today, but it's like a good kind of weird. It's just I'm just not used to having just the things that I have in my life today. I'm not used to saying yes and coming up and speaking in front of a bunch of people. I'm used to just making up some bullshit lie. I'm not used to, looking at my side of the street in situations and making amends to people that, in my eyes, have harmed me. Because I'm a pretty, vengeful, dude. I hold grudges. And so for me to be able to, be able to forgive people, and for me to go up to people that that I thought were my enemies, and to actually apologize and make amends to them, is one of the biggest freedom I've ever experienced in my life. And so I don't know if you're struggling here tonight, if you feel like you can't make it another 24 hours, I get it. I experienced that for 6 months in these rooms, every single day, and I just I hope you can just keep coming back and find someone you trust, and just give this program a shot, because it's given me a second chance at life. And with that, I pass. Thank you.